Hey everybody, Brett from Senior Golf Source. Today I'm going to share with you some warm-up exercises that will help relieve the lower back. So if you're that golfer that really struggles with aches and pains after a round of golf, this is for you. Now please be mindful, I am not a medical professional. This is just stuff that I've seen over the years as an instructor that have helped my students and specifically helped myself. I have a ruptured L4 and L5, so I know what back pain feels like. The whole sciatic thing down the left leg, it's not fun. Makes for a difficult round of golf. There's been a lot of rounds of golf where back support has been needed in order for me to move. So the first thing that we're going to do is a couple of stretches. Now the first stretch that we're going to do requires you to get on the ground, and it's called Cobra. So I'll get into position where you can see me. I'm just going to gently go down on my knees, and I'm going to start to assume more of a push-up formation, but I'm going to let my hips settle into the ground, and I can bend at my elbows here, because if you straighten it, this is accentuating the stretch. So maybe just starting with your elbows on the ground is a good point to start with. So here, what we're going to do is just gently move ourselves up. So I'm pushing myself up using my hands, and I want to feel that stretch right in the lower arc of my back. So kind of down in that lower lumbar region. And when I'm doing this, it's very important that we keep our hips on the ground. If you're pulling your hips off the ground, you're not doing yourself any justice here. Keeping the hips kind of right where the belt line is, keeping that on the ground. And what we're going to do is just gently go up nice and slow, and then gently come down nice and slow. And we'll do this for about 20 seconds to start with. And then the more tolerable you get with it, the more that you do it, the longer we can go. And then eventually you'll be able to press off the palms, keeping the hips on the ground, and really getting a nice stretch. Go ahead and let your head arc back with it. Don't look down like this. You want to use the whole spine, open it up. All right, so now that we've got that, that's a really good one to help warm up with. The next one I want to do is actually a supportive core exercise to help support that lower back. Our core muscles really play a big role in what's going on with our back. So what I'm going to do is get into a position where my knees and my palms are on the ground. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift one of my legs straight out and behind me. And when I'm doing that, I want you to squeeze your glutes. So squeeze those, squeeze your cheeks, squeeze your gut. You want to feel like they're both contracted. When we go back, hold it for 5 to 10 seconds, and then alternate the leg. And again, every time you extend that leg back, you want to squeeze your glutes and you want to squeeze your gut, holding it. All right? An advanced movement is you're going to lift the opposite arm as your leg. So if I'm lifting my left leg, squeezing the butt and the gut, I'm going to lift my right arm. So left leg out, right arm out, squeeze, hold 5 to 10 seconds, and then just alternate to help support your lower back. If you have a stronger core, your lower back's not going to have near the pressure that it would if you didn't have a stronger core. So that's a really good exercise. It's something I do on a routine basis. And now what we're going to do is get our hips open, because if you think about it, you're looking at spine. Well, if your hips are stiff, then we need to work on those as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a club to help me with balance. And what I'm going to do here is the opposite leg that I'm using. So if I'm moving my right leg here, I want to kind of set my balance point with my left arm. What I'm going to do is lift that right knee up in the air, turn it out, and then come down. all right? This might require you to maybe even use a wall in the beginning. So if your balance is very questionable, get yourself close to a wall, because the last thing I want you to do is crash and fall down and then comment that below. So get close to a wall, something sturdy you can hold on to, and you're going to work on lifting that knee and then externally rotating and bringing the foot down. Now, in this position, I'm going to reverse the operation of what I just did. I'm going to lift the knee from that external rotation and bring it back in. And I'm going to do that 3 sets of 12. So I'm going to do this 12 times. 1 is down and back. So that's 1 repetition. This would be 2. And then before you know it, you're able to do this without a balance point, you know, a wall or a club or something to hold on to. And you'll find that one side of your body is most likely stronger than the other or more balanced than the other. And the idea is we need to neutralize this. So now I'll go to my left side. And because I do this on a routine basis, it's not very difficult for me to achieve. So that is a really good exercise to help work on those hip flexors, to help support that lower back. That way we have that freedom and range of motion. So if you're stiff from the ground up, this is a great way to do it. Another really good exercise for the lower back is side tilts. We need to use our lateral muscles to help support our spine again. If your muscle groups are strong around your core, there's a good chance that you're not going to fight so much of that back pain issues. So what I'm going to do is, I like to do this with a weight, so I'm just going to use the golf club to kind of represent having a weight. So for me, I do it with a 15-pound dumbbell. You know, start light, maybe use a club in the beginning, maybe get some 5-pound weights. And what we're going to do is start with our hands to our side, nice vertical position, and we are going to do some side dips. So as I'm tilting to the right, my left hand just simply glides up the left side of my body, and my right hand glides down the right side of my body. And we're going to do, again, 3 sets of 12, and then alternate and do the opposite side. Now, when you're doing this, you really want to feel like your legs are quiet, your stance is relatively narrow, and we're not doing all this. We're not side bending. We're just simply letting the spine kind of work its way. If you've got those love handles, this is a great exercise to help build up the muscles around them and get rid of them. And when you're doing it, do it slow. Do it nice and even. This is not a fast-paced exercise. This is something to take your time with. Really feel you know, the muscle fibers doing their work. Feel that your spine is getting that greater range of motion. And what you'll find over time is that you're going to be able to do it lower and deeper over time, and it's not going to hurt nearly as much. So that'll help free up the spine. So we've talked about the Cobra, and we've understood that that's going to help open things up. We worked into our hips, and now we're into side bends. The last thing I'd like to share with you are planks. The beauty in planks, whether you have bad shoulders or not, there's variations to the plank to help strengthen your core. Because as I've mentioned in this video, the strength of your core muscles really is going to dictate how supported your back is. So I'm going right back into almost the Cobra position. So back down on my knees, nice and easy. And this is the plank. So what I'm going to do is make sure I'm looking directly forward, that my hips are not here. This is a pike. That's a different exercise. Make sure that your hips are level, you're in push-up formation, and that your hips aren't sagging here. If you struggle with this, you can go to your knees to start with. There's no shame. But when you're doing a plank, I want you to squeeze your gut and your butt the whole time that we're doing it. Another variation of the plank, I can get my hips back off the ground, my knees back off the ground, and go right onto my forearms, kind of putting the weight in my elbows and forearms. And what we're going to do is start with a 10-second plank. I know it might sound easy, it might sound super simple, but you got to start somewhere with it and work your way up. So if you have really bad shoulders, that last variation of the plank, putting the forearms on the ground, that's the way to go. If your shoulders don't have any range of motion issues or no tears or anything, the full arm extended plank is really good. And again, while you're doing it, squeeze your gut and squeeze your butt, and it should help support the muscles around your back to help alleviate the pain. Back pain can come from a lot of places. So if you feel like you're that player that deals with it all the time, first thing I would recommend is go check it out with your doctor. See if there's something that can be done. Maybe you need an MRI. Maybe there's a ruptured disc. Don't sit and swing when something could be medically wrong. So seek that medical advice. But if you feel like things are okay, you're just dealing with some weird back pain, these are some great exercises and stretches that I've found very beneficial over the years for myself and my students. So hope you found this informal, and we'd love to hear your comments, and thanks again.